All right, what's up, guys?
All right. What's
It's
up?
good.
Secret
We're
episode
back again.
18.
We're back.
Yeah.
Is it secret?
Nobody knows about it, so I guess.
That's true. That's true.
If you're really
But yeah,
unfamous, are you a secret?
coming at
That's
you
what we're
live
talking
from.
about today.
It's a philosophy episode, man.
Special
If it's true,
episode.
false. Yeah.
Mhm.
um,
All right.
yeah. So we're back again. It's I keep like I guess saying to people because I mention it every once in a while that we like started it back up again like the new Progcast and then we did one episode and gave up.
Yeah.
I think about
Every
that a
time we come
lot.
back, it's like
Yeah, we
we're
kind of.
back, and it's like a big thing, and then we're not.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
no, we're here now. That's what counts.
Hmm.
I agree. So
Yeah.
we have
All
some
right.
things to like jump right into.
Let's just
I
Yep.
jump into it.
we had like a little Callum's Corner thing, but I think the Oscars like just happened. So I figured
Mhm.
I think we've done it before. We could do a little Oscars talk. I've seen a lot of them. I know Callum's seen a few.
I
Um
Yeah,
don't
I
think
gotta
I've.
pull up my.
I don't think I've seen
I gotta
any of
remember
them.
what I've seen. But yeah, we can talk about that.
Mhm.
yeah, I think that would be
Um,
fun little time.
Yeah.
we want to start.
Well, let's talk about the one I guess that we probably have the most to talk about. Because we both saw The Substance. And I really loved it. I thought it was great.
Good. Yeah,
Um,
I was less impressed. I'm not gonna lie.
so, well, why don't you say your thoughts on it?
All right. I thought I'm hesitant to say that it was too on the nose because I get that the point was like it's so grotesquely on the nose that it drives its point home that hard, and like that's the goal. But I just feel like it's another commentary on how the industry and fame like is just a kind of soul crushing place that doesn't really care for like the lives and health of the people in it as long as they can make more money. But like that's a message that I feel like we've heard so many times before that it did not justify like just how hard it repeated itself and like beat that message into your head, you know?
Mm.
So by the time it was like when the by the time we're at the end of it and it's just, you know, they're beating the shit out of each other in a section that's like 5 minutes long. It was just like, okay, all right. Like at this
Let,
point, you
let's
just want to
let's
show
keep
off
it
a cool gore
spoiler
effect.
free too for
Okay,
Zane
okay,
Simmons.
sorry. Yeah,
But no, I get
but
what you're
yeah,
saying. It's
I
it's
don't know.
funny, like because I mean, me and Callum, we've been known to have our little disputes, our little
Yeah,
disagreements. Norbit the
for
master
sure.
notwithstanding, but this one, like I remember, because we were at the gym and I talked to you about it a little, and um, I really did enjoy the movie, but I also totally get why somebody wouldn't, not just for like
Yeah,
like if they're grossed out by it, but like if that message you find that like uninteresting, that is what a lot the film is based on, that kind of, and so there's not much else
yeah,
to appreciate it on, like it's all on that thread, so you have to be
right.
engaged with that.
I don't think
um
it's inherently uninteresting. Like you can talk about that in interesting ways, but I feel like it didn't have enough that it really wanted to say other than like, yeah, these things are bad. And then it just took that very thin amount of like, I guess for lack of a better word, substance and just like stretched it over just like the most gratuitous shit of all time, which is like, yeah, it's the point, but I don't know. I guess it just didn't really like click with me. That's just a me thing.
yeah, this isn't like I'm not, we're like, we won't go crazy in depth with it just because this, this episode isn't about these movies. Like we'll talk about the ones we've
That's
all
true.
seen, of course, but yeah, I think um I mean, even if you're not invested, it's just a super fucking entertaining movie. It has a really a lot going for it. The screenplay is really funny. So
Hmm.
it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, and it won Best Makeup and Hairstyling. What do you think about those? Like, any thoughts on any of them specifically?
I feel like it wouldn't have made sense for anything else to win Best Makeup.
Yeah, that's a
Like
no-brainer
it
for
that
sure.
one was kind of like, yeah, no shit. But like I don't know. The rest like I can see. I wouldn't have been like shocked at any of that, but I need to pull up the Oscar like nominees list just so I can
Yeah, I got a
mentally remember
little
this.
little list on Letterboxd. I yeah, I really I was really happy it just got nominated in the first place, to be honest, because you really wouldn't expect something that grotesque and just, you know, abnormal to get a nom usually. So I think it's nice it at least got nominated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Um,
definitely like in general on board with weird just like concept shit like that getting enough notoriety and attention. Like I'm on board with that 100% of the time. But,
yeah.
you know,
All right, and
yeah,
then I think I noticed the other one we both saw was Wicked, which I wouldn't mind
right.
talking about a little bit. Um, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we can say our ratings too on those. For the substance, I gave that one like a high 4 star. I really enjoyed it a lot. And Callum,
Yeah, I was like 2 star for me. 2 star in my book.
this is one of our less toxic disagreements. I always remember
I think
Norbit.
I've just mellowed out in general.
Facts. Yeah. Anyway, so we could talk about Wicked because I actually I didn't even know you watched it, and I was just perusing as I do,
Yeah.
and I saw I saw the a similar 2 star on Wicked. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I got
Because
a couple friends that would kill me if they heard me badmouthing Wicked too much, but I got to do it.
hit me.
I don't know. Like again, I just think I'm not the
Uh oh.
target
Uh,
audience for like they didn't
Whoa.
make it for
Sorry.
me
Can
and I
you
didn't.
run that back?
Oh,
mm,
did I
yeah, you
tweak
cut
out?
Yeah,
out.
just cut.
My
Okay, it
bad.
wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Um, I think ultimately it's less a fault of the movie and just like I know I'm not the target audience for a musical of the Wizard of Oz lore. Like I never was. So
Yeah.
I can't really blame them too much for not making something that blew me away, but like, like how how spoilery can it be about this one? Because there's some things that like specific things that I feel like I should mention.
Yeah, we can just say Zane, you can cover your ears if you want or whatever. We can just say like a spoiler warning
All right.
and get into it.
Okay.
I'll mute real quick.
All right.
I think for me it was like I'm in general on fine with on what they're doing. Like I appreciate it. But then we get to scenes where they're like, here's why the yellow brick road is yellow. And like here's why the flying monkeys can fly. And I'm just like, why are we here, man? Like no,
Yeah.
whoever asked that question, who gives a shit?
I
It's
came
like
at
harsh, like not fair,
my
but
bad.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think that adds like the general sentiment with that for me was like, oh my god, why am I here for 2.5 hours? Like, does this need to be a
Yeah,
2 part like like duo movie?
that's the other thing. Yeah,
Like,
I
I
saw it with my girlfriend and her
mhm.
friend, and they have both seen the play, and I think they said something like the whole play, like part one and two, are as long as just part one of the movie, which for
Yeah,
me
it's
was kind of
crazy.
symbolic of like we didn't need to do all that. Like this was just an exercise in gratuity.
To me, it was like I'll give you the same runtime if you just do the whole story. Like I'm fine
Yeah,
if you want to
that's
make it to
totally
it,
fine.
just do the whole story because it really does feel drawn out, and you end up with a lot of stuff that it just feels like. And it's been a bit since I've seen the movie. I watched it with Alex, who's my girlfriend, and
Right.
I think we felt a similar way where it's just man, it's really there's so much stuff that just is in there for the sake of being in there, like when you break down the actual plot relevant things, it's really I don't know, a little bare bones.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't know.
think
I feel like a lot of the sorry, go ahead.
no, you got it.
I just feel like a lot of the massive praise it has is just like based on what it's expected to eventually be once like it's finished. But
Yeah,
like it's not a finished movie as it stands. So like it just didn't do it for me.
which is we're in like we're in this age of just making like half finished movies. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's not.
This
It
got
also looks a little flat.
this one got 10 nominations. And I think I don't know. I didn't feel strongly about the editing in it, really the sound in it very much.
Yeah,
Um I don't think I mean I felt fine about like the Cynthia and the Ariana nods. I don't really care, but I didn't think they were really particularly
they did a good
Oscar
job.
worthy. I mean they did fine with it. Overall,
I
I'm
mean,
yeah. What's up?
I was like impressed with Ariana Grande's acting ability. Like it wasn't crazy, but it was like yeah, like no, she
Oh, she got
someone
it.
who's not
Yeah,
typically an actor, like she did a good job.
she was super entertaining. She's really funny in it.
Yeah,
Um, I think I definitely passed the Bechdel test for me. I think I got quite a few laughs out of her character. Um,
nice.
and just the combination of the two of them, they're a fun pair.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
would agree.
it really does. It feels really quite long, especially considering there's another one of these massive movies coming.
Yeah,
But I think the set design is awesome. The costume design is a lot of fun. Like it looks really quite good. There's a few CGI moments where I feel like, oh man, this is a little video gamey. Like the fucking
right.
the opening like flying shot. Like that's like, man, this is like fucking Assassin's Creed or something, or like some game,
Yeah,
which always takes me out. But
yeah, I kind of feel that.
overall, I think if if you look at the movie Wicked and you're like, "Oh, I want to see that," you'll probably definitely enjoy it. And if you don't, it's really a coin toss.
Yeah, like I think if you're already on board for what they're setting out to do, then like yeah, you'll have a good time. But if if not, then yeah,
Yeah, it knows what it's appealing to, and I think it works within that. Which honestly, you can't even say that for a lot of other movies. So I would overall give it a 3 star. I think.
yeah. I also put it at as was said earlier. I put it at a 2 star.
Hmm.
But no
Uh,
disrespect to Wicked.
yeah,
Just is what it is.
just personal preference shit. Oh,
Yeah.
can you tell Zane to come back?
Yeah.
Did you see any of the other ones?
I don't even remember. I barely saw anything.
Because I don't want to waste a bunch of
I
time
can check.
yapping. I've seen like I think like 10 or 15.
Yeah. Do you have a list of the nominees?
Yeah, you can just look up Oscars 2025. Did you see Dune?
I didn't. I
You
missed
didn't
that
see
somehow.
Dune. Damn.
No. I saw part one, but not two.
Yeah, there's I thought that was pretty great. There's a lot. I did enjoy most of the nominees, I think. I've seen all of the best pictures. Um I think except for Nickel Boys. I didn't get time to catch that.
Yeah.
But I thought I was really surprised at the Honora sweep. I love that they threw Sean Baker the love. I think that's really great. Definitely best actress for
Nice.
sure. Amelia Perez. Originally I had that winning a lot of stuff, but after the PR, just no fucking way.
Yeah. Crazy that I don't know. That whole movie is just a lot of weird shit surrounding that movie. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is
That's
some
been talked
toxic
about at
shit.
length, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to go into any of them super deep. I think like
Yeah.
it's not you're not like a racist if you like the movie or something. Um,
No.
but there's a lot to not like about it. All right, well, I guess maybe we could talk about it another time if you see any more of them. But
Yeah, we
I
can move on.
Conan was nice to see Conan too. And that's I
Yeah,
guess
he did a
all I'll
good
say
job.
about that. He did do a good job. So yeah, I guess that's our little brief Oscar talk. We can
Yeah.
toss it over to you then for your pick.
Okay. So yeah, I picked a movie that I had not seen, but a bunch of my friends had seen. I picked 12 Angry Men, and I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Zane, you've said you've said nothing. You wanna jump in?
Damn, I've been muted this whole time. Hold on.
Shit, tragic.
Sorry. Damn. Um, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really good. I liked I guess I can start with the story. I guess the story was really good. Just like kind of the way the case unfolded, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mm. I kind of need a little bit to get the ball rolling. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Um,
Yeah.
I I did
Mm.
like how it wasn't really the focus was not on the actual mystery of like the case itself. Like that
Hmm.
didn't really
Mm-hmm.
matter. It was more like the just the character
Yeah.
writing of the
Yeah.
actual 12 men in question. Like it with such a limited amount of like not even giving them names, it just does such a good job of fleshing them all out to be like such intricate people who like their
Agreed.
ideas are all clashing like this that you sort of forget about the backdrop of the case and you're just focused on like the interpersonal dynamics, which was really cool.
Yeah. I think also in terms of how it's written, the way it gives information to the audience is really great. Because of
Mm-hmm.
course we go into it at a weird point because the characters know all of the information. They have a great detail of information, and the audience has nothing. But they do a really
Yeah.
great job of like funneling naturally the information at you as these characters kind of discuss the case, and it seems like obvious,
Hmm.
but the way things are brought up
Mm-hmm.
is really it does allow for these almost like twists, even though these characters all know
Yeah,
everything they're talking about, which is really it's just very well written in that way.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Uh,
a lot of great camera work in it. um
Yeah,
I
mm-hmm.
think I
which
did.
is impressive considering it sticks to one room, you know? Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
that's cool shit.
very
Yeah.
stagnant. It uses nice like these long shots, and you have
Mm-hmm.
multiple characters in every frame and multiple characters reacting in every frame, and all of these characters blocked in these different ways. Like the way
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the
The way,
opening. Yeah, what's up?
oh, yeah, the way they placed everyone like in all the scenes I thought was really good. Just
Hmm.
Hmm.
because, yeah, it was like yeah the way I guess I don't really know like I guess the way they got like it was choreographed I
Yeah,
guess was like really nice.
yeah, it's one of the
Mm,
best
Was it?
things about the movie.
Am I
yeah.
remembering this wrong, or like did I hear this wrong? It was it like either adapted into a play or did it start out as a play?
It began
Because
as
like
a
it.
Mm,
play, and then it
Okay,
was
yeah.
adapted.
Because when you watch
yeah.
it, you can absolutely feel like this would
Yeah.
work perfectly on a
Yeah,
stage. Like this would be just
For
as
sure.
interesting on a
Yeah.
stage, which I think is an impressive quality to have. Like, yeah, normally there's I feel like when musical or play adaptations happen, it's either like this should have stayed on the stage or like this is better, but you just feel like yeah, this would you can imagine how it would feel to watch it like as a performance because it is choreographed like one like you said like
Hmm.
there's all the movements are so like even though they're just like kind of strolling around or like pacing back and forth, it all
Yeah.
feels so like planned.
It's
yeah,
very cohesive I
it's
thought.
super
Yeah.
meticulous in that way,
Hmm.
and I think it's also impressive just like not just the choreography, but it's also impressive just yeah, just how each, especially in that opening oneer, how you have
Hmm.
all of these characters funneling into the room. They're all doing different things, and you have that amount of
Yeah.
choreography, but yet it always still feels natural. Like nothing feels staged,
Right.
which is
Hmm.
super. I just it's such a hard balance to strike of like realism, but
Yeah.
also like also all of this like complex choreography. Um,
Yeah.
it's
In
really
general,
impressive.
I don't. in general, I don't even know how you'd begin to write something like this, where like you have to factor in so many things that just slowly unravels, and like every person also unravels while the case is unraveling. Like
Yeah.
it's just such like a feat of character writing that I don't know. It's crazy shit.
I've read the
Yeah.
screenplay for it, and it is
Mm,
it's almost hard. And when I read it, it's like almost hard to just visualize everything because there's so much going on. Everything somebody does, it like there's details of how these different characters will react to it, even if they're not
yeah.
like expressly really shown or like centered in the frame. There's like these details of how they react to almost everything spoken, and it's just a level of detail that's it really makes this like grounded, realistic experience.
Hmm. Do we? I forget how we do this. Do we normally like if we're gonna start talking spoilers? Do we like mark that we're gonna do that? Because there's stuff I want to
Yeah,
get into that.
usually
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys ready to do that, or should we?
we could
Yeah.
talk about a
I
little
think.
more, but if you want to go
All
into it,
right.
Okay.
that's cool. I was just gonna talk
I mean, if you
about
got,
like the camera work, especially of I was reading this thing too, of how the camera starts above eye level and then it slowly moves below eye level throughout the film, which I did notice
oh,
on my
Mm.
second watch. Which you could I guess you could take meaning from that in a couple different ways of like how we as the audience are judging the jurors.
mm,
And maybe it works as our perception. But it's interesting also just the effect it creates because you do start with all these like long takes, and it is impressive. But there's these long where the camera moves all around the room without cutting. Um, and then as we get to the end, we're getting like almost closer to the characters as we see
yeah,
more about them, which is just a really cool, deliberate choice.
yeah,
Um,
that's true.
I have a ton of notes for this movie because I this was my second time seeing it. So I did take the time to like jot down stuff that stood out to me. But we can go into
Yeah, go ahead.
spoilers.
If you got more to add, you can go ahead. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's just more technical stuff in it that's really impressive. I love the choice of like not using music, and it you can tell when a script works really well when they don't need music to bring out a scene. Like the only time
Yeah,
there's music is kind of when there's passage of time or just moments between I
Yeah.
guess the action of the film. And
right.
it's that same kind of backing track.
Hmm.
So I love that choice too. Yeah, let's get into the spoilers. Let's talk more deeper about the characters and plot and stuff.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to mention. We were talking about how the camera work is so well done, despite it taking place in one room. I think that also the like when it ends and they just all walk out of the room, suddenly it feels like now that we're outside again, it's like a weight is
It's
lifted off because
freeing,
we're
yeah.
finally out of that
Mhm.
enclosed space, but also like we've we're free of like the burden of like everything that has been going on during the proceedings, right? Like
Yeah.
there's such a I don't know, it's a very rewarding feeling even though it's just like we were in a room and now we're outside.
I love that choice too. And it starts with these like, nice establishing shot of the like, the whatever the building, and then we kind of have this slow pan, this like long pan over to the room they're in, and that's most pretty much all we see of the outside. And those rooms, that set or whatever, or maybe I think they just filmed in a real place. I don't know, but it's directly connected. Um, so you really don't get you don't once we get into that room, just like the characters, you don't really leave it until it's done, and it is very claustrophobic, and it is almost freeing once even
Hmm.
as the audience we get to like move out of that room. Yeah, it's a really great choice.
Yeah, because like yeah, it mimics the feeling for the audience that like until we figure this out, you got to stay right here, you know? So it's like a nice way to keep us in line with how the characters are feeling. Again, like you said, without music. Like it uses every other technique other than music to keep us feeling what they're feeling.
Yeah, and it's just as simple as it is complex. Like it's simple in how like well thought of it is, and how Yeah, it's like a lot of people say, and I've seen the set of like the like 19, I think it's like 97, the remake of it, which I also watched.
I
That
didn't know they
it's
remade it.
they
Hmm.
did, yeah. I checked that out just actually just before, like a couple hours ago.
I just
Just
on the letterbox.
yeah, just so I'd have a little, and I'll talk about that at the end just
Hmm.
briefly. But they say like, you really couldn't fuck this movie up if you wanted to, because the screenplay is just so good, the script is so good. But this movie does so much more to enhance the script. Like it's not just the story; it's the way it's edited, the way the camera works in it, which I think you see how all that stuff is not as good in the remake.
Mm.
And that makes you kind of realize, oh man, it's not just a good story. It's a really, really great movie, and it's super well made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even just on a simpler level, there's something to be said about like how it doesn't get boring at all, even for my
Never.
like chimp brain. It stays interesting the whole time, even though they're all just in there talking, which is like a
Hmm.
I think a testament to just writing a conversation that is just so interesting in its own right.
Yeah, and it is that flow of information that really makes that work.
Hmm.
Where and yeah, and this is one of my biggest takeaways where you have this realistic grounded movie with really natural dialogue, really natural, progression, really natural comments and stuff. But then the way they use within that framework, they also make these big dramatic moments, but they never feel forced or staged, like
Hmm.
there's big moments like when the guy when what is it like juror 3 says to juror 8 like I'm gonna kill you, and he's like, but you don't mean it, do
Yeah.
you? Like those big moments that are more are more like cinema or like these actual like movie moments, but they're really balanced in this realistic story, and nothing ever feels exaggerated, and it's a really hard balance to strike, and I don't think the remake balances that as well.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, I
think
just
another
want to
one of
mention
those
that.
moments you were talking about is when he puts down the second knife, like the replica knife or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
That shit got me to like sit up, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or when the guy sweats, it establishes these things for these big payoffs, which again, like, some of the most of the best parts of the movie are those big moments, but they are really grounded. Like they never feel um like, for shock or for the audience. Like even though that's what they're
Right.
made as, they work really well within that grounded framework. And I think that's one of the most impressive parts of the movie to me, that balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
100%.
there's tons of great lines in there. Like I remember that like he can't hear you and he never will line, that always really gets me. Like, oh
Mm.
man, that's so striking. Just great lines of
Yeah.
dialogue.
I think also one of those moments that's very cinematic. I think probably the one moment that it allows itself to like stray away from the groundedness is when the racist guy is talking, and like
Yeah.
everybody, no matter how what they believed
Yeah.
before, just gets up and looks the other way. That's
Hmm.
such
Yeah.
a good moment.
That
It
was a really
is
good scene. Yeah.
That's probably one of the most, like, I guess, cinematic, if we're gonna use that term. But
Yeah.
again, like, it feels earned. Like the movie
Hmm.
really does
Hmm.
earn those moments, and it never really feels that far fetched. And that character goes like really far out, and he is, one of the more extreme characters in the movie, but he never feels like, I guess, like exaggerated or fake. Like all of these guys are like real guys, and
Yeah.
yeah, so having this really outspoken, really racist character, there's levels to it that make it so it never feels like forced, like that moment is
He's
totally
also
earned.
he's also completely gone from the story after that moment, which I love too.
Yeah, no one will
Like
listen to him.
they all just like mocked him so hard that he was just erased from the narrative. It's crazy.
And you can see that character is like very clearly shaken by the end, and it's
Yeah.
it's just
Hmm.
very it's really effective. It works
Yeah.
super well.
Yeah,
Um,
good shit. I loved it.
Yeah.
I love it too. I think there's another line, um, and I think this is one of almost kind of a nod to the audience where what is this? It's like juror 5 or juror 6, you know, like the working man guy. Um,
Mm.
he says to juror 8, he just says, okay, but suppose that you know you get us to all overturn our vote, which does happen in the end, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
wrong and the guy's guilty, which is a complaint that some people have kind of had with the movie. You know, like this
Yeah.
guy is probably still guilty. It's like it almost nods to the audience and says, well, you know, that may be true, but if there's a reasonable doubt, you can't send this guy to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, because they also
Yeah.
never proved that they never like cracked the case, which makes it feel so much more like, yeah, obviously they're not going to figure it out, but I feel like normally when you see a plot like that, you expect there to be some conclusion of like what really happened, but they just prove that it might have been
Yeah,
something else, and
Yeah.
that's
and
enough.
that's another thing that really jumped out to me, which actually the remake even talks a little bit more about, is like, okay, well, if he didn't kill the father, who did? Like the movie
Yeah,
really isn't concerned with that at all.
No.
But it does still flow naturally that like they just wouldn't think about it, or they just, you know, they're trying to prove or disprove that it actually happened, not what actually happened. But
yeah,
it's
that's not
just
their job.
exactly, and that's a line that I think is just cut from the movie, but that's basically what the characters say. Like it's not our job to prove who did it. It's just to judge whether this happened or not.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but that's super interesting. Um, yeah, it's based on. I did write down the guy's name. It's based on a play by Reginald Rose, and yeah, it's just a really amazing adaptation of that.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'd be
They,
interested to watch. Like, I don't know if that play is ever still performed or if there's just like
I'm sure.
video of a time that it was, but I
Yeah.
would be really interested to watch that.
Mhm.
There's one more thing I think I'll mention, which is I really love how the title card comes in with this movie, and the credits are super simple, but I love how it kind of overlays like the kid's face, and you only see him one time, which
Yeah,
I love that choice because they really
Mm.
it's um, the audience's vision and how we experience everything is it really tries to keep it just like how the jury would. And I saw one comment, I think because I was looking on like a Reddit discussion post, and I saw one that talked about how they love that choice not to actually show like flashbacks to anything that happened, and I love that because the jury just wouldn't have that. And I think that's such an effective choice. Like all they could do is talk.
that
They
would all be
have
speculation.
Mm.
yeah, they have the facts and they have conversation, and that's it. They don't really know what happened, and
Yeah.
so we never see what actually happened. Just yeah, it's really perfect.
Mm.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I've been yapping, so we can get to the rating.
sure.
Mhm.
I would give it. This is one of my favorite movies. I'm really glad we got to rewatch it. I'll give it a 5 star for sure.
Dan, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I didn't really have a lot to say about this. You guys kind of spoke for me a lot, but
Sorry.
I thought, yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, you guys had a lot of my points, but I thought it was really good. Yeah, I'd give it, I think, 4.5.
Dope.
I am gonna agree with Jackson. I would also give it a 5 stars.
Awesome, man. If I can ramble a little, I'll talk about the
Mhm.
97 one just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Um, I do still think it's like it's a good movie. And I did enjoy watching it. So if you do want to check it out, it's interesting insofar as like the first like 20 minutes are pretty much word for word. There's really not much change at all, and I was thinking like, okay, this is a 2 hour movie. The original's an hour and a half. So is anything even going to be changed? Like how does this work? Is this just literally word for word, aside from the obvious changes? But they do make some interesting changes with especially the super racist one, where I guess they kind of flip it on its head, and it's like a super nationalist black guy. Um,
Oh, really? What the hell?
yeah,
All
it's
right.
interesting. It's an interesting choice. It doesn't feel like ham fisted. It's
I feel like
that that
that's kind of a weird because then it's like the I don't know the guy everybody turning away from him has like different undertones when you make it that,
exactly. I and
which is a
Mhm.
little
it is an interesting
yeah
choice, and it works and it doesn't. Where that wouldn't have been. I mean, not that it's a common perception, but there's lots of people that would have thought about that and still think of like that at that time. Um, so it's an interesting choice. They have to kind of do the scene totally differently with it, and they add his speech is much longer in this one than it is in the 57 one. Yeah,
mm,
it's an interesting choice. My problem with it, I guess, is that I don't think any of the changes it makes are like particularly work much better. Some of them are better, but a lot of them don't really serve or add to it. And it just doesn't feel that original movie is so tight. There's really nothing you would cut from that, and it's also fluid. You couldn't anyway. Um,
yeah
and this one, it does. It's just not as tight. The camera work isn't as good in it. Overall, I mean, the actors, they have tons of great actors in it. Awesome cast, but the performances aren't as good either as those original ones. Um,
right
anyway, I think it is still like if you like 12 Angry Men, it's still worth your time to see how it's kind of adapted. Whatever, like 40 years later, it's still interesting for sure. I would give it personally like a 3 star. I think it's definitely it's still like worth your time. And it does do a
yeah
lot of stuff really well, but there's a lot I don't totally agree with. I won't go way into depth since I'm the only one who's seen it, but
Mhm.
anyway.
cool
All right.
to move on
Um, yeah, I guess so. We're doing mine now, I guess.
That's right.
yeah
Yeah. All right. So I chose Interstellar because I hadn't seen it in like years or something. I really wanted to rewatch it. Yeah.
What do you think?
Um, well, now it's been like what, a year or so? How long has it been since we watched the original one? It's been a while.
Oh, since episode
Yeah.
17. Yes,
Yeah.
that was like July or June or something.
Yeah, something like
Jesus
that. Yeah. So I wanted to rewatch it and get like a fresh picture of it, but now it's been a very long time since that. Yeah, I thought it was really good though, when I did watch it. I
yeah
guess yeah. The performances were really good from pretty much everyone in it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Hmm.
even the kid actors are pretty solid for sure.
Yeah. Um
yeah the girl who plays Murph as a kid plays the fucked up CGI baby from Twilight, which I thought was kind of
Oh
funny.
shit, really? That's really
yeah
funny.
I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she was like, "I recognize that actor," and I was like, "From where?" And then she was like, "That's fucking Renesmee," and I was like, "Oh my god,
That's
that was
really
kind of funny."
funny.
Yeah,
Oh man.
but anyway, yeah,
mm,
Yeah,
I think this is a Nolan movie for sure. Like, I think
yeah.
people have a interpretation
yeah.
about Nolan movies that they're always like super complex and like just about you know like space or time, which like they are, but also he ultimately cares about like the people at the center of all those big concepts,
Well,
right?
sometimes.
Mm,
Yeah.
I think in this case at least, I think
Yeah,
like
for sure here.
definitely for this one,
yeah,
yeah.
I think some of that reputation is little undeserved, but in this movie it definitely like shines that that's what he cares about at least right now.
Mhm. It's one of the ones where his style works the best. And I think to me that's why Tenet doesn't work that well cuz like yeah, it's cool, but I don't give a shit about anything that's going on. This one you have
Right.
likable, interesting characters that are attached to it and so it works a lot better.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say about it, Zane?
Um, I thought the effects
Pretty
Right.
the effects
awesome.
were really
Yeah.
good. They were really nice. A lot of it, like people have said, it's like very true to actually like how things go. And I thought some of the ideas that they had in it, like the portal to Saturn, or like in Saturn, sorry, that goes to the other the wormhole.
Oh
I
yeah.
Yeah.
really like that it was I really like that it was a sphere, because that like it actually makes sense as a as like a I guess like some sort of astronomical thing. Like that's a real like that would
Hmm.
be like what we'd assume to be a fourth dimensional wormhole, which I thought was really cool. And I really like the attention to detail for that.
On the
Yeah.
topic of that, I think
Mm,
obviously one of the biggest critiques with Nolan is the exposition. But there are times in this movie, like not all of it is perfect, but there are times in this movie where the exposition works super well. Like when they're and I just skimmed it today because I'm the same as you, like Zane. I watched it like all the way
yeah,
back, but I did skim through it for like
yeah.
45 minutes just to catch
Mm.
up. And
I'm gonna pull up the summary real quick.
in terms of how it shows that sphere thing, I love how it does that exposition where it is like, he does explain it, but he uses the paper and then he folds it and puts the
Mm,
pencil through it. Like that's a really great way to show to the audience like this is
yeah.
how this works. It's really a good way of doing the
Mhm.
exposition where he's not always great at conveying complex information to the audience without it being like, oh my god, what the fuck are we doing here?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like if he I haven't seen Tenet, but from what I've heard about it, I can imagine that if there was something like that in it where someone just went like, yo, it's like this, then people would have less of a problem with it. You know?
Yeah.
That
I
helps.
mean,
Mhm.
yeah, he's a concept guy, um, and this movie does have like these awesome, really amazing conceptual ideas.
Yeah.
Um, tons of like. There's so many, and I guess we'll get into spoilers a bit here. Spoiler warning, but there's like the idea of them every second or minute or whatever they spend on the planet, it's like this many years.
Mhm.
That's such an effective and like gut wrenching idea to play around with. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
conceptually, that's so awesome. And
It's scary because every time someone like stumbles or like takes a second to
Mhm.
think about what they're gonna do
yeah,
next,
it's
you're
like
like,
that's
fuck, that
years.
was like
Yeah.
months.
That is
Like
months. Yeah.
it's so like yeah, you
Yeah,
feel
it's
the
really
weight of everything that
effective.
happens so much more.
Mhm.
I think this film is pretty good with the weight, where Nolan's
Mhm.
always going to impose utmost seriousness in everything he does, right? Like everything
Right.
is the most important thing. But it works. It does feel the weight and consequences in it are really there. Like, oh, you fucked up on this planet? Okay. You've actually everybody else around you has aged like 1 billion years. Oh,
Yeah.
you fucking trusted Matt Damon? Okay, the black guy blows up. Like it has serious weight to what happens. Like barely any of them make it through the story,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it does feel really significant. And I think that's one of the things he does in Interstellar that is sometimes he can struggle with a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta feel for the guy that blew up because he waited for them for like 20
Mhm.
years, and
Yeah,
then
for like 20
Yeah,
years.
a
Yeah.
couple months after they got back, he fucking died. So he didn't
brutal.
really have a good time up there. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I kind of feel see what you mean about like Nolan playing everything like it's the most serious. Like it is, but also like I don't know. You feel it, but every once in a while you're just like I don't know, the swelling of the music and it feels like he also while making it serious, he's like wants you to really feel it and is like trying his hardest to make sure that you do. And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
in this movie it works, like especially
Mhm.
with that score, which is amazing. It feels like fucking galactic. Like it
Yeah.
it feels really, it really does overwhelm you in some scenes, especially some of the those kind of last two big set pieces, like the docking the ship, like when the music is swelling and it's all fucking spinning and it feels massive, it looks amazing, like it really
Yeah,
does feel like the most important thing.
yeah. Yeah, I remember in that scene thinking like I actually kind of was like, wait, fuck, like I need a second to process everything that's happening, but like you're not given one because you wouldn't be, right? Like it's
No.
all meant to be so overwhelming because no shit, it's overwhelming. It's like space and time are all collapsing in on you and stuff.
Hmm. And anything else for you, Zane?
Um. Uh. I don't really have a whole lot.
There's lots of
I'm
cool
looking through a little bit. Yeah.
design stuff in the movie. Like it feels very 2001 inspired, which is another thing we talked about with like
Right.
especially like the robots and shit. They're
Yeah,
very
cool
like,
robot design for sure.
yeah, really cool, and the way they go on the
Yeah.
water planet is really neat.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, everything about that's really good. I do
I do
like.
also like that there's no like oh the robots, go haywire, sabot like a twist that you might normally see coming like that doesn't happen and they're just like chill as
Mm-hmm.
hell. And it's
Yeah,
like, oh nice.
you really don't expect it. Like my first time watching the
Yeah.
movie, I was like, "Oh, really? We're not doing like an
They're
AI plot line." Okay.
they're just cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like yeah.
Yeah, I actually I didn't even think about that, but it is something I appreciate. I guess it's a weird thing to note,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought in terms of the robots, I thought it was cool. I saw this a while back. Like someone said that they kind of designed the robots to be like they're not like like a human or anything. Like they're
mhm.
very they like they're kind of supposed to they're supposed to be very efficient, right? And
Mhm.
humans can't have that efficiency all the time, so they make just like a more it is more robotic, I guess. It's more like more intended
Yeah,
design instead of like trying to be humanoid
it's really
is what I
Yeah.
inanimate. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah,
Which works in their favor.
yeah.
in terms of just design and like art design and stuff, like I don't know. I think it has some of the best like space design of at least the only comparison I can think of really is like 2001, I guess. But like there's when they first hit like the fucking wormhole or whatever, and it's like and you see the shot of space and everything, it looks really amazing, and it has all these amazing colors, but it's not far-fetched. It's just
Yeah.
it's totally beyond what you could even think of, and I think it captures that really well.
Mhm.
Mm,
It's very
Yeah, I think it
moving.
does a good job of visually translating concepts that are just like normally so far beyond you that you're just like, what would that even look like? And then it does a pretty good job of showing you.
It does, yeah. And just all of those space scenes where you see the ship and everything, it just looks so great and big and real. Like I think the budget you have is totally paid off there, where it really
That's true.
it really looks really awesome.
Yeah.
mm,
And it's I don't know, it's hard to do. Especially to do it with realism, but the ship designs are convincing. Like
yeah.
nothing looks nothing really takes your attention out of it. Like, oh, that doesn't that looks a little far fetched or something.
Right.
Even when it gets really
I
fucking crazy.
mhm. I think also as you could probably call it a little heavy-handed, but I think the whole thing of like love as like a measurable, almost like scientific force is a cool idea
Hmm.
because like it's taking a human element of it without just being like, oh, we did it with the power of love. It's like no, there's you're acknowledging that there's something more here than just like
Yeah,
a
that's true.
wish. I thought that was a very Nolan way to do that concept, I guess.
That's funny. Yeah, it's it is kind of the idea of it, like when you describe it to someone like that later humans just were like, oh man, this guy loves his daughter so much, he's gonna be able to communicate, whatever.
Right.
In like the fourth dimension, it is pretty um, crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess I can suspend my disbelief, but I do agree that it's like it's a little far fetched. Like, was there's
Yeah.
nothing else you could do really? You had to like
Right.
trust that this guy is gonna go to the fucking whatever, like go past gravity and time and all this shit, and go through a black hole. And but then I guess like that's how it happened for them or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like hard to think
In the
about.
moment of it, it's a satisfying
It
conclusion.
is. It works. Yeah, and
Mhm.
and it builds on that. I was. It's funny. A little anecdote. I watched this when I did watch or rewatch it a while ago. It was with Claire, and she's never seen it before, and she predicted it like 50 minutes in, like how it was gonna end. But I do think,
Yeah.
aside from that, I think the mystery works pretty well. And you obviously something's going on. You probably have a hint of a feeling that like Matt Damon isn't all he's cracked up to be, but you don't. A lot of the mysteries, it does a good job at kind of holding them from you, and so it does keep your investment really well in that way. And I think it services the movie really well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
All right. Any other thoughts?
Um.
I don't think so for me.
Yeah.
I think going from people were saying this on Letterbox, but going from Timothy Chalamet to fucking Casey Affleck, shit tragic.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw that one.
yeah, the like it's
Mhm.
it's pretty good casting though. I'd like I believe he could have grown up to look like that.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I feel a little bit because it has the climax in space combined with the climax on the planet where like there's like all this inner drama. I'm not totally sure how I feel about that.
Oh
Um,
no,
but I don't know because I haven't seen it in a bit. What did you think of having those things like kind of intermingled, where you're cutting from like this epic space shit to the shit just on Earth?
I feel like it's very important for like what the themes they're trying to go for, right? Because it's like he's doing all this grand stuff in like this space between you know time and reality and whatever, but all of it is ultimately just to send a message to his daughter who's at home.
Mm.
So like I think it works well with those themes of like they're they're speaking to each other, they're communicating even though they're as far apart as you could possibly be.
Yeah,
I think it works. I think maybe in the moment it's a little chaotic, but it works for the themes.
I don't remember having an issue with that balance. I was just like when I was like going through it again, I was thinking, man, like that's an interesting way to do that, where you're cutting from this like super massive thing to what is it feels really big in the moment, but what is ultimately I don't know. But I yeah, you're right. It's well balanced, and I don't remember that being an issue. I don't know. I thought it was worth at least talking about a
Yeah,
little bit.
Mhm.
for sure.
Um.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well then, I would
I think that's it then.
give this one a 4.5 star for me.
Hmm.
Um. Definitely really. I enjoyed it. I think a lot more on the rewatch. I watched it ages ago, like you saying.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Um.
Great
Uh.
movie.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. Yeah. I thought it was really good. I'm really glad I watched it again because I think I understood a lot better, and I think I got I think I appreciate the I appreciate like this kind of how fantastical and then like yeah I liked it a lot more, and I saw a lot more of the ways that it kind of uh I'm rambling. Yeah, I give it a 4.5 stars. I think I thought it was really good.
Dope.
All right. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it as well. I think it might go up on a rewatch when you're not taking in everything for the first time, but I'm gonna put it in as a four
Mhm.
stars. Good
Oh,
movie.
you hadn't
Uh,
seen it before.
No, my first time. Yeah.
Oh
really?
man,
Hmm.
I
damn.
finished it like 5 minutes before because it was a whole thing. We got held up today, and I was like, I have to watch this right now. So got it on
Mhm.
time, but
It's
yeah,
a long fucking movie too.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
Mhm. Cool.
Good
All right.
shit. Yeah, next time when we do it, we'll have like seen them recently, but
yeah.
Yeah.
you know, we're working with what we got.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Well then, last on the list. So I remember. Jeez, I don't even like. Did this come out recently when I brought it up all those like months ago?
Yeah.
I
You,
think
I
you'll
think
have
so.
to.
I think it was contemporary at the time, so
Yeah.
it was relevant when I brought it up. I think. Um. So we all listened to 2093. I think we've all probably had more time to engage with it now than if we had done the episode a while ago. So I guess
Yeah.
that's an advantage of music. You can
Hmm.
pick it up a little more.
I did want to re-listen, like give it one front to back listen before we started, but didn't get to unfortunately. But I
Yeah.
have
I
heard it a
got.
bunch. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I listened to most of it. Um. Yeah.
this is an album by Yeet, um, world renowned artiste, you know, musician. You know, really avant garde stuff. It is his one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eighth studio album, I think.
God damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely always pushing. So
Yeah.
I was a fan of Yeet. You know, not even really a guilty pleasure, but I mean, I guess a guilty pleasure. Yeah, a guilty pleasure of
Yeah.
mine. Before this album, and then once I heard this album, I think it actually stopped being a guilty pleasure for me. Um, because I don't know if you know people are really talking about this. I think there's been talk about it, but this album is really different. And I do think it's very special. I absolutely loved it the first time I heard it, and I guess as a proclaimed Yeet fan, like you, before you go into this album, it's just silly, goofy shit. Like it's very unserious music mostly. You know, aside from some exceptions, it's just fun, fucking rage. You know, good shit. It's funny. It's weird. There's tons of weird bars. Just
Yeah.
totally out there. Which is still present here, but this album really is cohesive and it has a totally different, evolved sound. Super, I don't know, I guess daring. Really, to me, I hadn't heard much like it before it came out. And it's kind of
Mhm.
on this new wave of very like it's I mean it's almost industrial or like futuristic, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. I was gonna use that word. That's yeah.
So yeah, this album is 2093 by Yeet. It came out on February 16th. That's the date here on Spotify. Um, and yeah, I loved it. Um, I gave it a perfect, you know, a perfect 10 out of 10 when it first came out. And yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
Um. Say, do you want to start or should I?
Um. I'd say a little bit. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I guess industrial is a really good word for it. It feels like very industrial and like it does kind of have a futuristic element, but yeah, it does remind me of a lot of industrial music and very is it very digital sounding as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I also really liked the parts where it had like more orchestral parts to it, like Bought the Earth and the
Yeah,
last song
agreed.
on the album as well. I thought it
Yeah.
was yeah, I thought the slower songs were really nice.
Yeah. It
Mhm.
makes a cool amount of pacing.
Yeah, yeah, and like pretty much nothing we've heard from Yeet before because he kind of just made goofy ass music up until now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't listened to the rest of his music, so I can't really compare it to his other
Yeah.
stuff. But I do know that this is kind of just what he does. But like, it feels very long. Like when you're sitting down to listen to it,
Oh yeah.
just front to back, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, this is you know,
Mhm.
It's a
yeah,
And then
really big album.
yeah.
mhm.
Which I don't know. For me, I think it could have been trimmed a little bit, but I also get that he was
Yeah.
going for a concept. So
Yeah, he did kind of have a concept with it. I thought it kind of went off a little bit at the near the end.
mm,
Like in the oh, at least in like the second half or so, I think it got kind of samey and it didn't really improve upon the sound a lot, or didn't
yeah.
really do a whole lot, like
Yeah.
nothing super special with it like after a while. But a lot of the earlier songs I thought really like they used it well.
I think for me, my counterpoint to that would be like, I
Mhm.
don't disagree with that. Like I do think kind of after
Yeah.
that point it does stick with that basis it's made, but it just sounds so good
Mhm.
that like I don't really care. Like I think
Mm,
Yeah.
each of those songs is still so enjoyable and it still have great energy and this great sound to it. And so to me it's like when the sound is that good, I'm fine if you kind of like you know thug it out till the end, I
Yeah, that's
guess.
fair.
I do
Hmm.
agree.
sure.
It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it is bloated for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Like
like
yeah.
so
I
so
guess that
like every other Yeet album.
yeah. I guess that
Yeah.
just comes down to how much you personally gel with the sound. Because like,
Mhm.
while I like a lot of it, I think there was a bunch where I was just like, I'm ready for this to be done. You know. So like,
Yeah. Yeah, it does
I think
depend
that
on how
just comes
much you like
down
the
to
sound.
yeah. If you're fucking
Mhm.
with it, then you're like, yeah, I want way more of this. But if you're like not as much, then yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I think it
that's
does
like
push the
oh yeah, sorry.
oh you go. You go.
I'll just say really quick. I think that is also just kind of
Yeah.
like the industry at this point where you are just pushed to make and that's always been
Mhm.
Yeats thing for sure. But just the industry
Yeah.
at large, I'm sure his producers or whatever pressured him just put as much as you can on there. But I think for
Mhm.
for it having that much, it is pretty filtered. Like I don't think there's a song I would point at and be like that one sucks. Like I think I like all of them a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Mhm.
yes, what you were saying, Zane.
Yeah. Shit, what what was I gonna say? Damn. I lost it. Give me a second. Give me a second. You guys talk.
I think I liked what you said about the more orchestral, and I agree.
Mhm.
When he does slow it down, it works really well. Like "Bought the Earth" is one of my favorites. It's pretty awesome, and it just sounds. I mean, almost going back to like the Interstellar dialogue, it sounds really big, and it is so
Yeah.
certain. It's like it's so certain of itself, and like I mean, even just the cover, it's so like
Yeah.
so in your face. But yeah, I feel like in the same way that Interstellar works in that way, I think 2093 also works where the industrial huge sound of it really conveys it feels
Mhm.
big when you listen to songs like Bought the Earth. It feels massive. And I really love that. And I'll say I'll say another thing that really makes this stand out to me. Of course, this it's not like it's never been done before, but I think especially in the genre, you don't see a lot of albums that I can't remember what it's called. I think Zane, you'd probably know, but where each song goes into the next
Mhm.
one.
Like a
Um,
medley. Yeah.
yeah, you don't see that a lot in Rage, and obviously
Mhm.
the music taste has changed a lot since we were just recommending Pink Floyd and Rush, but you don't see that a lot in this like rage genre of these songs going into each other and having this cohesive idea and sound, and like
Yeah.
the abrupt change from Bought the Earth and Nothing Changed. It's not unintentional. It's a very intentional, split
Mhm.
there, and there's it just shows there's a lot of attention paid to the sequencing of it, and how the album works as
Yeah.
a whole and not just the individual songs, which I really appreciated.
Mhm. Yeah, you don't see that a lot now. I thought My yeah, I remember my point from before. I thought that like the whole album like just its sound it is kind of new, I think, with
Hmm.
a lot of the things they've done. Like I haven't heard a lot of this like this kind of style before. But like yeah, like I will say there were some parts that were kind of not that good when you go into that kind of like more digital, really kind of industrial digital sound that this album has. Like there's on Power Trip that first part, the first section. I think the that song is actually really good. Um, I really like how it's like it's very it kind of it's like three different parts pretty
Hmm.
much.
Yeah.
I really like that. I really like that song, but like the first part with like the auto tune at the top, like pitched up and stuff and things like that, like it's it kind of makes it not sound so good in my opinion.
Yeah, I understand that. I
But
just think it's
mhm.
he's always had these like weird modulations and just weird
Yeah,
sound, vocalizations and
yeah,
sounds. But
he's done this a ton before.
for sure.
Mm,
And I don't know. I understand, I guess, why someone would think it doesn't work with the more serious tone and what he's trying to present. But I thought he was able
mm,
to bring that, really kind of unique style of his. It's not unique anymore, but what he kind of
yeah,
trademarked a little bit, and bring that into a more serious project. And yeah, it really sounds like it shouldn't work, where you have these like fucking baby auto tune sounds basically, and all this like
yeah.
weird voice modulation. But I
Mm.
never found it taking me out. I always found it worked really well.
Yeah. I think it works well in the context of the song and like in the context of the album. It fits with the sound well, but it's like you can't really even if it works, it's not like it has to be super good.
Mm.
Mm. Um yeah, but I think also another thing I thought it is really cool that I like it is a very big shift from like the rest of his work as you mentioned before. Um and like a lot of the people like before they'd call him like a Cardi clone pretty much.
Yeah,
And then I think he
which she
really
definitely
did
isn't
develop which you know he's
anymore.
definitely not. Yeah, especially not anymore, especially not with this album. This album really like it's completely different. It's a completely
Hmm.
different style of like rage I find.
Yeah, completely.
Mm.
That sound where, I mean, Cardi has almost gone more gothic with it now, which is also really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
I it's that now people are clones of him. It's like the
Yeah.
game has changed for him,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. Uh,
Yeah.
Callum, did you have any other thoughts?
Um, I think even if I don't like find it to be as engaging of a sound as you guys, I do have to respect him for just kind of not holding anything back and putting every idea he has into it,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
because it really feels like you said, like a bigger, more serious project. And I gotta respect kind of just the like brazenness of it. Like I think it is really funny how like rappers talk about their wealth all the time, but he's like, yeah, I'm a trillionaire, which is just no,
Yeah.
no, you're not, man. Like that, don't you cannot go building for you don't have buildings, you don't own a building. But it is
But
like I respect all. Like I think it's fun, and it's like a very
Yeah.
bold and like you said, very sure of itself album to a point that you have
Mm.
to respect it.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
it is still kind of like devoid, not like it's not entirely devoid of those like stupid lines, like
Yeah,
when you said like where's my planet?
yeah,
but you know
yeah,
what? Like it works. It works with this album
Hmm.
and with the tone of the album,
Yeah, it
and
does.
it's at the point where on 2093, it's almost more of a character. And I'm
Mm.
I don't think this is fully Yeats' intention. This may be more unintentional than it isn't. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost so exaggerated that it's playing this like super greedy character. And I think there's moments on bought the earth and stuff where you could see it, this persona almost be characterized a little bit in the context of the
Hmm.
album. So yeah, I mean, it's Yeet is always gonna
Also,
have
I
those
want to say
bars.
something about that.
Hmm.
I think speaking of like the character that he plays, kind of element of it, I do also like that while he's doing that, he like some of the songs go into the like more of the flaws of like either himself or that character, where he
Hmm.
Yeah.
presents it as like a person who is kind of challenged by a lot of things, like like losing control, and like sometimes he likes to lose control on purpose, and like you could never be
Yeah.
like him, but do you really want to type shit. Like I don't know, it's cool to take what's normally just like a very like
Yeah.
bragging persona and turn it into what feels more fleshed out, you know?
Hmm.
I like
I
that.
totally agree. And well, it's probably not all intentional. I do think there is some intent of him there to have have this be almost a character in the context of the album. Um,
Hmm.
I think there's at least a little bit of purposeful work there.
Yeah.
Do we do you want to talk about like favorites, least favorites? Like a couple standouts
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say Bought the Earth is kind of a given. Yeah,
Highlight for
really like
sure.
the big highlight. I really like the strings on it. Um I liked Lifestyle as well. I just thought the beat was really good on that. I thought Lil Wayne was pretty good on it too.
Yeah, his
Lifestyle's my
verse is
favorite as well. I
great.
like the song a lot.
Yeah.
I think
Um
my favorite's a little underrated. I think "Tell Me" is
yeah.
one of the best ones on the album. Like the beat on that one is so man. The tone the album really nails the tone. And I think "Tell
Yeah.
Me" is one of
Tell
the
Me is
best
a good one.
examples of that.
I liked one I think it's Team CEO. Let me listen to it. Um mm, no. Shade. It was Shade.
Oh,
I thought
Shade,
Shade
yeah,
was really good.
Shade's good.
The synth on that is like I've never heard a synth like that before. Really good.
Yeah, and that's where I would, and you can notice like most of those are from like the first half, because I do
Yeah.
agree with you that the first half it does like try a lot more interesting stuff,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So I do understand that. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
more. There's almost more like I love one of the most kind of experimental sounds
Mm-hmm.
on the
Yeah.
album. Like it's really really industrial and clangy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it sounds really awesome. Breathe
Yeah.
also, I think a lot of the standout ones
Yeah.
have gotten it. This album got pretty big. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a. Mhm. Yeah. How about you, Callum? Any standout tracks at all?
Um, yeah, like I said, Lifestyle was my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, I do definitely think that the first half is has a lot more memorable cuts on it than the second half. And I
Hmm.
remember it's been a while since I've sat and listened to the whole thing, unfortunately, but when when I was doing that, I found that like I'd reach a point where I was just like kind of like felt satisfied by it, and then thered still be so much more album left, and I was just like, ah,
Yeah.
damn, you know.
Yeah.
But that's again just a me thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. This is a little, I guess, off the subject topic, but then I was not expecting this at all. This is such like a landmark work for him, and then he released another album. Like
Yeah.
just a little bit later.
Yeah. I
Um,
haven't heard that one. Do you listen to it?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed it, but it's really not even trying to be anything like 2093. It's kind of a return to form, I guess, which is
Yeah.
too bad because he really outdid himself on 2093.
Mm-hmm.
As an album. But
Yeah.
it does delve it more into those really chaotic and
Mm-hmm.
the more cute or like expressive, aggressive kind of sounds on 2093 that album expands on a lot. It's very
Yeah.
fast paced. 2093 has a lot more slow kind of tonal stuff, and that I don't think that's really present in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wondering about the future now. I now that we've kind of discussed, I guess a little. Um, I just wonder
Mm-hmm.
if we'll go back to this sound or maybe go off somewhere else. I think clearly he's proven that he's worth more than just a glance. He can he
Yeah.
can do more than just what he's known for. I
Mm-hmm.
also think one more note. I just think Psycho CEO is like a really great introduction to the album. It really gets you,
Yeah.
just like immediately
Yeah.
gets you into the tone and the vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess one more point for me.
Hmm.
I think that I think that 2093 was like I saw like a little bit of backlash on it, like online. Basically, people didn't like that it was a more serious album. And I think that's why it went back to like the more commercial things in his next album. But I think it'd be good like in the future work on more like albums like this. But I don't think he should lose the like kind of the stupid shit that he did before. I think it just like maybe it should be like an EP or or just singles or something.
Well, and
But I think yeah.
there's still the balance on 2093. There's lots of
Yeah, that's the thing.
wild
Yeah,
lines.
that's fair as well. Yeah.
Like I don't think the people who like 2093, we're not trying to be like, hey, you need to just drop all the goofy stuff. Let's get serious because it just wouldn't be Yeet anymore. Like
Yeah.
that kind of his that character of him, of that
Hmm.
really outspoken, almost like really ridiculous, fucking twizzy, making up new words. That's part
Yeah.
of the artistry, and so
Hmm.
I think
It's definitely
you
in
know
2093, but
a
yeah.
balance is good. Somewhere between where he can flex his artistic
Yeah.
merit a
Just
little more.
hmm.
I do
Yeah.
wonder if we will ever get back to a project like this that's really ambitious. And I guess that's why I like it so much. It is
Hmm.
really ambitious. It's trying something new, and it really
Yeah.
sticks to landing.
Hmm.
At least I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he tried a lot harder on this album
For
for sure.
sure. You can feel
And
it.
it
Like,
paid off.
yeah,
Hmm.
that was
Yeah.
good. I'm glad to hear what you guys thought about it.
Hmm.
That was a good discussion. I love
Yeah.
when we get to Music Zane. Music Zane got
Yeah.
bars.
I got a lot more to say about that.
You're
That's
picking the
dope.
next one, right?
Yeah. I haven't
All right.
decided on it yet, but yeah. Um,
Well, that's
guess we should get to the yeah. Yeah.
that we can hop to the rating.
Hmm.
For me, I was just blown away when it came out. I guess less so now. Like my opinion, I gave it like a perfect 10 out of 10. My opinion, it's gone down a little bit because I do agree that like it's not like it's not as tight as it could be for sure. Even if I do like
Yeah.
enjoy all the songs, there's like I guess a present drop off, but I only think
Hmm.
that's like strong enough for me to just take away like a little bit. So I would still give this like a 9 out of 10 for me. Really
Yeah.
love it.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I liked the I liked its sound. I thought yeah, obviously it dragged on a little bit for me, and I thought some of the decisions made were a little too much, but
Fair enough.
overall I thought it was a good album. And, like I like the more ambitious Yeet for sure. I'd give it a 7 to an 8 probably, but closer to a 7 I think.
All right.
Cool.
I think maybe on another re-listen. I have listened to it a lot, but I think another re-listen like now I might feel a little higher, but
Mhm.
just because of, the length of it plus I don't think even at like the peak of this genre, it's just not something that moves me super hard.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I still did enjoy
That's
it,
fair.
so I'm gonna put it at a 7 as well.
Mm.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All
Um,
right.
yeah, I'm definitely higher on it than you guys are. I knew
Yeah.
that. I knew
Yeah.
that going into this episode. I think I'm higher on it than probably most people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. Um,
Mm.
then I guess, do you guys have your recommendations? Because I think I have mine.
I do not.
Do you want to like look for something
Uh,
real quick?
yeah, I want to look for something new that I haven't listened to before.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think I've done like quite a few rewatches, So I'll do a little.
Yeah.
I'll do a little preamble so you guys can look up if you want.
I got
For
mine.
Oh
okay,
shit.
dope. Do you want to do yours, Caleb?
You can do your preamble. I don't mind.
Okay. So I got a little preamble, and Callum, this is one you've actually seen.
Oh,
Looking at the letterbox now.
Mm.
Sorry, dog, but
no worries.
I've been interested in this movie for a long time. It's by a director. I haven't seen anything by this director, but very prolific, obviously. And I'm super interested in it because it is kind of, especially after seeing The Substance, it got a lot of comparisons to that. It's very renowned for its practical effects.
I know what we're
Uh,
watching.
yeah, you already know.
Yep.
This movie takes place in a very snowy place. I am recommending 1982's The Thing by John Carpenter. I really want to check this out. I've heard really great things. Yeah, and so I would love
To
to
be
give it a try.
honest, I actually did not think you were gonna say that. I thought you were
What
gonna
were
go
you
for like
thinking?
a Cronenberg. Like I thought you were gonna go like Videodrome or The Fly or something.
Oh, no, I
That's
was thinking The
which,
Thing.
yeah, fine with that as well. But yeah, I was off.
Well, there we go. So
Uh,
yeah, my recommendation.
I'm gonna go for a movie what I've seen of it is looks interesting, and I had a couple recommendations from some
Uh-oh.
friends.
You
I'm
cut
gonna
out?
name
Cal
his
yeah.
2008 movie. Oh shoot,
Callum, run it back, run it
Yeah.
I
back.
I can like it never cuts out for me, so I'll just be talking, then I hear you guys go, "Oh shit," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna go for the 2008 movie In Bruges,
Oh
starring Matthew
yes!
McConaughey. I've never seen it, but
Oh,
I've heard it's good.
I really want to rewatch it. I love In Bruges. One of my favorite
All right,
movies.
Mm.
Fucking love In
we got a
Bruges.
big episode to look forward to, I
Oh,
guess.
this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Zane,
All
you
right.
got one?
Yeah, Jackson, you've listened to this one before. Um I want to yeah, my Songs in the Key of Life from Stevie Wonder.
Oh, Songs in the Key of Life. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's a biggie. All right.
Yeah, I've been putting this album off for like years or so. So I think it's time to actually get to it.
I first
Yeah,
listened
that's
to
been on my listen to it list bench for a while.
I
Mm-hmm.
first listened to Songs in the Key of Life when I was doing my like home YouTube workouts. Um,
Oh man.
and I played that doing my fucking I don't know, like my planks or whatever the fuck. And I was like, oh
Right.
man, this is the vibe. Yeah, great album.
Mm-hmm.
So excited to check, you know,
Yeah,
go through those
I'm
again.
really excited to see it. Yeah, really excited to
Okay,
hear it.
do you want to do like 2 weeks? Do you think that's like doable? Like our old
Um,
schedule?
I'm
I
fine
think
with
we
that.
can. I think we can shoot for it.
Okay,
Yeah, let's do it.
we
Yeah.
could okay, let's do it. We will shoot
Yeah.
for the 23rd as our next recording day.
All right.
I think this was a really great episode. We had a lot of good convo.
Yeah, I had a
Mm-hmm.
good time.
Really enjoyed.
Yeah.
We will hopefully have more to say. We decided to stick with the original picks, but I think like depending on which piece of media it was, some of us hadn't seen it in a really long time. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we'll go for more next time. Anywho,
Mhm.
anything we wanna do for this very special outro of episode 18?
Um.
I'm good. You guys are.
All
Nah.
right. Shout out the hose. Shout out the huz.
Shout out.
Shout out Corey Noble. Chihabe
Mm-hmm.
Suisi. Whatever the hell that
Yep.
guy's name is. All right. Yeah.
Shout.
Thanks for watching this episode. If anybody did.
Mhm.
And we will be back in 2 weeks. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye guys. See ya. Callum.
See ya.
Tell
There we go.